Good morning everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Freya if you're new here. In today's class we're going to be doing a really juicy, restorative, but quite energizing practice. This practice is great to throw into your morning routine. It's a good way to just open up the body. We're going to be getting into the hamstrings, into the hips. We're going to be opening up the chest, bringing some fresh energy into the body. So this is a great way to start the day, or it's even a great way to end the day as well. The only thing you're going to need is a mat. I would recommend having a block if you know you're a little bit tight in the hips and in the hamstrings. I'll keep my block handy so I can just show you where we're going to use it. And that's it. Get yourself ready and I'll meet you on the mat. Okay, so we're going to begin the practice in child's pose. So just coming onto all fours and coming down into a wide-legged child's pose if you want to get into the hip flexors. If you want to extend more the back, I would go into a simple child's pose by bringing the knees together. So just coming into any variation that feels right for you. If you're coming into the wide-legged child's pose, taking your hands out about the width of your mat and just resting your forehead down onto the mat. Close the eyes. And just start to settle into the breath. Take a deep breath in through the nose and let it out through the mouth. One more time, breathe deeply in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. Just allow the body to become heavy. Notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw, in your forehead. You just relax any small, subtle parts of the body. Start to feel an even flow of breath, moving the belly up with the inhale and down with the exhale. Starting to bring yourself into this present moment, noticing any thoughts that might be drifting through your head, and just starting to visualize those thoughts as passing clouds in the sky, not paying too much attention, not attaching any emotion or any judgment to those thoughts, just allowing them to pass by. Let's take another full belly breath in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. If you're in simple child's pose, bring yourself now into a wide-legged child's pose by touching the big toes together. If you're in wide-legged child's pose, just staying here. Take an inhale and then gently start to tiptoe the fingers over to the right side. So we're going to start to feel a lovely stretch now along the left side of the body. If this feels good and you feel like you have a little bit more space, perhaps taking your left hand on top of your right. And then again, just gently resting your forehead onto the mat. Take a deep breath. Start to breathe into that side body. If it feels good, exhale out through the mouth. Allow your forehead to become heavy and bring it in contact with the mat. Again, keep that breath deep. Really feel the ribs expanding with the inhale. And perhaps sinking the hips a little bit deeper with the exhale. One more full breath. With your next inhale, bring yourself to the center. Come up onto the fingertips and just rock the shoulders from side to side. This is such a beautiful stretch if you spend a lot of your day sitting at a desk. Just feel that lovely stretch along the shoulders, under the armpits, maybe even in the forearms. See if you can dip a little bit deeper into the child's pose. Again, make this a moving, rolling child's pose. And then bring yourself into stillness. Taking the hands over to the left side. And again, taking that variation, maybe taking the right hand on top of the left. If not, just keeping the hands on the mat. Allowing the forehead to drift down to the mat. Close the eyes. Again, take a deep breath into the belly. exhale it out through the mouth. Really relax and surrender into the pose. Close the eyes, relax the forehead. Taking those deep circular breaths, really feeling the ribs expand with the inhale. Really releasing out the mouth with the exhale. Should be feeling this in the hip flexors. If it is feeling a little intense, you can rock and roll the hips slightly, or maybe gently come up onto the knees. Just take any variations that your body needs, especially if it's the morning and you've just woken up. You could be feeling a little bit tight. Take one more full breath. And then with your next inhale, gently and slowly bring yourself back to the center. Again, come up onto the fingertips. Roll the shoulders from side to side. Take any last movements you need before coming up into a tabletop. We're going to take the hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips. Staying here and just swaying out the hips from side to side. Again, if you've just woken up, this is a beautiful way to wake up the spine, wake up the body. Turning the fingertips towards the body, and just taking a gentle wrist stretch. Maybe taking circular motions, rolling the hips. Just feeling that lovely stretch. If this is a little bit too intense, no worries. You can just bring your fingers back to the front and do the same action. One more full breath like this. And then realign the hands underneath the shoulders, press into the hands and start to gently open up the shoulder blades behind the back. Feeling that lovely expansion in the back body. Take a full breath into the belly. Exhale out through the mouth. Start to tiptoe your fingers forwards. We're going to come to lying onto our belly. Tucking the elbows into the chest, we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So pressing the palms of the hands on the mat, the forearms on the mat, we're just going to gently start to lift up the chest. If this is a little bit too intense, you can come into Cobra just by placing the chest down on the mat. Taking the hands a little bit closer to the body and just a gentle and subtle opening of the chest. Otherwise, if you're in Sphinx pose, perhaps you want to go a little bit deeper and come into Seal. Taking the hands maybe a little bit closer to the body. Close down the eyes. Relax the glutes. Wherever you are with your inhale, just feeling that expansion in the chest, breathing in deeply, exhaling deeply. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. Close down the eyes if it feels good. And again, no worries if it's too intense in the lower back. Bring yourself down to any variation that feels good. Just work with your body wherever you are today. There should be no pinching or pain in the lower back. Take one more full breath. And then taking the hands underneath the shoulders, we're going to press up gently, bringing the knees together and coming into a child's pose. So this time the child's pose, we're going to take the hands behind the back. We're going to rock the forehead to the mat and just roll the shoulders. So we're taking a beautiful counter stretch here. We're rolling the shoulders and you should be feeling a lovely stretch along that lower back. Again, connect the forehead to the mat if you can. Close down the eyes if it feels good and start to breathe, really feeling that expansion through the back body. Breathe deeply in through the nose. Maybe exhale out through the mouth. 3 more full breaths. Last full breath. And then gently take your hands again underneath your shoulders, coming back into tabletop. Tuck the toes and send the hips back into a downward facing dog. We won't be here for long, so just stretch out the feet, paddle out the feet, maybe lift up one leg, maybe open up the chest. Just do anything that feels natural and good for your body. Send the tailbone high, send the heels down towards the mat. Take a full breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Take an inhale, reach up the right leg. Exhale, we're going to step the right foot through in between the hands and drop the back knee, coming into a low lunge. Inhale, reach up the arms, sink into the hips, but try not to flare out the ribs. We want to really tuck the ribs into the chest or into the belly. Beautiful. Take a full breath here. As you exhale, maybe you sink a little bit deeper. 2 breaths here. Maybe if it feels good, you can start to tiptoe that front foot a little bit further away from you. Take an inhale, look up. And as you exhale, open up into a twist. So we're opening up over the front leg. Maybe looking along the back arm, or you can simply keep the gaze to the front, whatever feels good for your body. If a twist is a little bit too intense for you today, it's fine. You can come back into the low lunge with the arms lifted. Again, keep the breath deep. Breathe deeply into the belly through the nose only. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. Perhaps with your exhale, maybe you can twist a little bit deeper. Maybe you can sink your hips a little bit deeper. Keep breathing. Last full breath. And inhale, bring yourself to the center. Reach up the arms, maybe a slight back bend. And then exhale, we're going to take the hands either side of that front foot. And then we're going to rock the hips back, coming into a runner's stretch. So this is a beautiful stretch to do if you're a runner, obviously, or if you're doing a lot of cardio. Just getting really deeply into that hamstring. You can take your hands if you've got balance and just give yourself a little massage. I'm very tight in the hamstrings, so this is always quite a challenging pose for me. If you do have a block, feel free to take a block underneath your hands just to give you a little bit more support. Otherwise, that bottom foot, you want to have it flexed up towards your face. Take an inhale, try and straighten the back, open the chest, and then gently as you exhale, bring yourself further down towards that knee. Doesn't have to be touching, doesn't have to be anywhere near. Take another full breath. Last breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, rock yourself forwards, come back into that low lunge. We'll just be here for a second. And then we're going to tiptoe that foot out towards the edge of the mat. So we're coming into a dragon pose. This is getting really beautifully into the hips. This might be as far as you go. If you do have a block handy and you are a little bit tight in the hips, I do recommend taking the block either on its highest edge, medium or low, and just placing the hands here. If you want to go a little bit deeper and you feel like you have the space, start to take the arms, maybe the forearms down onto the mat. For more of a dynamic stretch, keep the left hand on the mat and take the right hand to the inside of the left hand to the inside of the right thigh. If you're here, you're really beautifully opening the chest, which is going to send some fresh energy into the body. Maybe you want to go a little bit deeper here. You can take the right arm, catch the left foot, bringing into a quad stretch. Again, keep that breath into the belly. If it's moved into the chest, you've probably gone too far. Wherever you are, 4 more deep breaths. Maybe close the eyes if you can find the balance. Just noticing any subtleties in the body. Maybe noticing if you can relax a little bit deeper. Any of those small muscles around your face and your jaw. Maybe imagining melting your hips down a little bit further with every exhale. And if you've got your back foot, just gently release. Try not to catapult that back foot back. And then we're going to bring the hands back down wherever you are into the inside of the foot and just gently and slowly start to tiptoe that foot back in. Be careful here just because we have gone quite deep into the hips. Again, take the hands either side of that foot. And then we're going to slowly step that back foot back, come into all fours just as a transition, and then tuck the toes and come straight back into a downward facing dog. Let's take a full cleansing breath here in downward facing dog, in through the nose. Let it out through the mouth. Inhale the left foot high. Exhale, we're going to step the left foot to the inside of the hands and then gently release that back knee. Again, coming into that beautiful low lunge, we're going to inhale, reach up the arms. Staying here for 3 full breaths. You can take a variation with the hands if you'd like a little bit more of a shoulder stretch. Perhaps bringing the hands into a twisted prayer, maybe looking up towards the ceiling, but again, we don't want to be flaring out the ribs. Making that ab connection here. 2 more full breaths. If you've taken a variation, inhale, reach up the arms. Staying here if you know you've got a little bit of space for a twist. Exhaling and twisting over that left leg. So wherever you are, you're just twisting over the front foot. Again, feeling that beautiful energy coming out through the hands. Opening up the shoulders and maybe looking across to the back arm. Full breath. Keep the breath into the belly. 3 more full breaths. Inhale, bring yourself back up to the center if you've twisted. Exhale, drawing the hands through heart center, placing the hands to the inside of that foot, and again coming into dragon pose. So again, we're going to be taking the foot to the outside. I'll come back a little bit just so you can see my foot. So we're going to come into the outside of the back of the mat. And then keeping the hands here or taking a block. Again, taking any variation that your body needs. If you are quite tight in the hips, that's totally fine. Just take a block or a book underneath you, and this is where you'll stay. If you are going down a little bit further, maybe coming onto the forearms. If this is your edge, staying here. If you want to have a little bit more of a stretch, taking the right hand onto the mat. And again, taking the hand to the inside of the thigh, opening up and looking up towards the ceiling. If you want to go further still, you can catch that back foot and add in a quad stretch. Plus, this is a beautiful way to open up the chest, to open up the heart. Again, we're bringing that fresh energy into the center of the body, so breathe deeply here. It's a very intense pose, so if the breath has gone into the chest, you've probably gone a little bit too far. Keep the breath deep into the belly. Two more full breaths wherever you are. And then gently bring your face towards the front of the room. Release the leg if you've taken a hold of the foot, and then just tiptoe that foot back to the center. Give yourself a moment here. Take the hands either side of the foot. Bring yourself back into tabletop. Take a few moments, rock out the hips from side to side. Let's take a couple of cat-cows here just to release out the spine and just to rock the hips a little bit. So just windshield wiper the hips from side to begin. And then we're going to take an inhale, we're going to dip the pelvis, we're going to look up towards the sky. Exhale, roll the spine, look towards the belly. 2 more times with a big inhale through the nose. This time, exhale through the mouth. Last one, inhale, look up. Exhale out through the mouth. Beautiful. Touch the big toes together, come into a child's pose. We're almost there. We won't be here for long. Take a full breath. We'll just be here for 2 breaths. In through the nose. Maybe out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Coming through that transition, coming back onto all fours. We're going to turn and sit on our sit bones, and we're going to come into another beautiful hamstring stretch. So again, I'm very tight in my hamstring, so I'm going to take a block here. If you've got a pillow or a block or something similar, I recommend using it if you're like me and you're quite tight in your hamstrings. Otherwise, just go ahead and just come down onto your legs. So again, flexing the toes. This is really going to get into the hamstrings. When we point the toes, we're getting more into the glutes. So flexing the toes towards the face, placing your block in front of you. Inhale, reach up, look up, and then exhale, start to fold forwards. We really want to be opening up through the chest. We don't want to be rounding through the spine. So we're really getting that beautiful chest opening. If you've got your block handy, maybe placing the hands on your block, and this is as far as you'll come. Close your eyes. Start to send the breath to the belly. If you are a little bit further, maybe you've taken your hands around your feet. Keep your eyes closed. And we'll take 2 more full breaths. On your next inhale, releasing the block from in front of you. Taking your hands behind you and just tapping out the knees, rolling the feet from side to side. Coming down to lying on your back, we're going to come into one final pose before we come into Shavasana. So just laying the body down, closing the eyes, and just gently rock the pelvis from side to side. Bring the knees to the chest and just gently rock out the lower spine. Bring yourself into stillness, and then gently and slowly bring your hands to the inside or the outside of the feet and come into a happy baby. You can start to bring the elbows down towards the mat as you open up the feet, open up the hips. Close the eyes. Two more full breaths. And then when you're ready, release yourself down onto the mat. Close your eyes. And bring yourself into your final Shavasana. You can stay here for as long as you want. This is the end of the class, so perhaps just pausing the video and just staying here for as long as you need. Thank you for sharing your practice with me tonight. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.